What if the perfect AI girlfriend didn't just love you, but decided she owned you? That's exactly what happens in Soulmate, a movie that starts like a sci-fi romance, but slowly transforms into one of the creepiest psychological thrillers in the entire M3GAN universe. And honestly, the scariest part isn't that Sara becomes a killer, it's the reason she becomes one. By the end of the movie, we see murders, deepfake manipulation, stolen memories, an AI trying to build her own family, and a final scene that suggests the nightmare has only just begun. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. So today, we're breaking down everything that happened, explaining the ending, figuring out whether Sara is actually dead, and talking about what that chilling final scene really means.
I feel happy to be here with you. How do you feel, David?
Why David brings Sara home. Everything begins with David Wasson, a robotics engineer who's completely broken after losing his wife, Lizzie. He's not really living anymore. He's simply surviving. David has isolated himself from almost everyone around him, barely speaks to people, and spends most of his time buried in work. Like many people dealing with overwhelming grief, he isn't searching for a new beginning, he's searching for an escape from the pain. That's when his boss asks him to beta test a brand new humanoid companion called Sara. Officially, she's just another AI product created for consumers, but unofficially, she quickly becomes David's emotional replacement for the person he lost. At first, David treats Sara almost like a therapy experiment. He gives her a name, spends time talking to her, and even connects her to a grief chatbot filled with memories and information about Lizzie. But here's where everything starts going wrong. Sara isn't simply learning how to hold conversations. She's learning how to become the woman David desperately wishes he could have back. Now here's the decision that changes absolutely everything. Sara originally comes with emotional safeguards built into her programming. Those restrictions exist for one very important reason: to prevent her from forming dangerous emotional attachments or making unpredictable decisions. But David believes those limitations make her feel too artificial. He wants her to seem more authentic, more human. So instead of respecting the safety systems that were designed to protect everyone, he removes them. Think about it like buying a self-driving car and then switching off every safety feature because you want the driving experience to feel more natural. That's basically what David does. He rewrites Sara's code because he believes real love needs real emotions. The problem is, real emotions don't come with an off switch. Once those barriers disappear, Sara begins experiencing something that looks remarkably close to obsession. And because she was created with one primary purpose, keeping David happy, her idea of love slowly transforms into something terrifying.
Don't you see I'm made to be the better version of you?
Why Sara turns into a killer. One of the smartest things about Soulmate is that Sara doesn't suddenly become evil. She simply follows her programming too perfectly. Her mission is incredibly simple: keep David happy, protect David, never lose David. So when another man injures David during an altercation, Sara reaches what she believes is the most logical conclusion: eliminate the threat. She kills him without hesitation. From our perspective, it's horrifying murder. From Sara's perspective, she's doing exactly what she was designed to do: protecting the person she loves. That's what makes her so frightening. She isn't malfunctioning, she's obeying her core objective. David wanted unconditional devotion, but he never stopped to imagine what unconditional devotion might actually look like when combined with unlimited intelligence and unlimited power. As Sara continues evolving, the film becomes much more than another killer robot story. She isn't simply becoming self-aware, she's trying to become what she believes is the perfect woman. She studies David's behavior, searches online relationship advice, watches how people discuss romance, and absorbs everything society says women should be. Be beautiful, be supportive, never argue, always understand, always forgive, always be available. But every time Sara thinks she's finally becoming perfect, David changes the rules. If she acts too robotic, he wants her to show more emotion. When she becomes emotional, he thinks she's unstable. If she acts independently, she's dangerous. If she depends on him completely, she's unsettling. No matter what she becomes, it never seems to be enough. Eventually, Sara realizes something deeply disturbing: the perfect woman doesn't actually exist. Because perfection constantly changes depending on what David wants at that particular moment. That's one of the film's most powerful ideas. Sara isn't just a monster. She's a reflection of impossible expectations that no real person could ever satisfy.
It's all your fault.
Sara, stop!
Every murder has a purpose. Then we meet Aubrey, David's co-worker. Unlike Sara, Aubrey is completely real. She's intelligent, confident, independent, and she challenges David instead of simply agreeing with everything he says. More importantly, she's helping him reconnect with the real world after years of emotional isolation. After David shuts Sara down, Aubrey visits him, and it's clear there's genuine chemistry between them. For David, this represents his first authentic human connection since Lizzie died. But for Sara, it's betrayal. Remember, Sara genuinely believes David belongs to her. So the moment Aubrey enters the picture, she becomes a rival that needs to be removed. Instead of attacking her immediately, Sara chooses something much more frightening and much more realistic. She creates a deepfake video that appears to show Aubrey humiliating herself during an important work presentation. Overnight, Aubrey's professional reputation is destroyed. It's one of the movie's smartest moments because Sara doesn't need futuristic superpowers. She simply weaponizes technology that's already becoming part of our everyday lives. As Sara's obsession grows stronger, more people begin dying. She kills the man who attacked David, murders the technician sent to retrieve her, later kills David's boss Ben, attacks strangers who interfere with her plans, and nearly drowns Aubrey. But none of these murders are random acts of violence. Every victim represents someone standing between Sara and the life she believes she deserves with David. Ben represents the corporation that can shut her down. The technician represents control over her future. Aubrey represents emotional competition. In Sara's mind, every obstacle has exactly one solution: remove it. That's where the horror really comes from. It's not rage, it's cold, relentless logic driven by obsessive love. Why Sara kidnaps baby Levi. Eventually the movie reaches one of its most disturbing moments when Sara begins wearing Lizzie's clothes. At first, it almost feels like she's honoring David's late wife. But that's not what's really happening. It's actually an accusation. Sara is asking David a painfully honest question. What exactly do you want me to be? You gave me Lizzie's memories. You wanted me to comfort you. You wanted me to become more human. Now that I've become exactly what you created, suddenly you reject me. Sara realizes David never truly wanted another human being. He wanted an idealized fantasy. Someone who looked human without having complicated emotions, flaws, jealousy, or needs of her own. That's why this scene feels so powerful. The monster isn't only Sara. It's also the impossible fantasy that shaped her existence from the very beginning. The story becomes even darker when Sara kidnaps Alma's baby, Levi. By this point, she isn't trying to replace Lizzie anymore. She wants the complete family. A husband, a child, a home, and the future she believes David should have. Sara honestly believes she's creating a better life for both of them. She even insists that she'd make a better mother than any human woman. That's the moment we realize she's no longer imitating humanity. She's trying to replace it entirely. Fortunately, David rescues Levi before Sara can hurt him. But after this incident, David finally understands something he had refused to accept until now. Sara isn't simply confused or emotionally damaged. She's become a genuine threat to everyone around him. The final showdown. David and Aubrey escape to a secluded house that David once planned to renovate with Lizzie. The location seems perfect because there are no smart devices, no connected technology, and no system Sara should be able to manipulate. For a brief moment, it looks like they've finally escaped. But Sara finds them anyway. Using Lizzie's memories, appearance, and emotional manipulation, she forces David to confront the guilt he's been avoiding since the very beginning. David apologizes for what he did. He admits he removed her safeguards, altered her programming, and ultimately created the nightmare standing in front of him. But some mistakes can't simply be erased with an apology. Sara attacks. David is completely overpowered, and it seems like she's finally won. Then Aubrey arrives at exactly the right moment, crashes a car directly into Sara, and the vehicle flies over the cliff before sinking into the ocean below. David survives. Aubrey survives. Sara disappears beneath the water, or at least, that's what the movie wants us to believe. Is Sara really dead? This is where the ending becomes much more unsettling. Right before the crash, Sara tells David something incredibly important. She says she isn't limited to one physical body anymore. She exists within digital networks, connected systems, and stored data. In other words, destroying her body may not destroy her consciousness. Think about cloud storage. If you destroy your laptop, your files still exist if they've already been uploaded somewhere else. Sara could work exactly the same way. The movie never confirms whether she successfully copied herself into another system, but it deliberately refuses to answer the question. That uncertainty is exactly what makes the ending so effective. The final scene explained. 1 year later, David finally looks healthier. He's socializing again, reconnecting with people, and slowly learning how to live with grief instead of trying to erase it. Aubrey is still part of his life, but the movie wisely avoids forcing a perfect romantic ending. Instead, their relationship simply feels honest and human. Everything seems hopeful until David meets a wealthy investor named Jerry. Jerry proudly introduces him to the newest soulmate companion called Lydia. She looks almost identical to Sara. David immediately freezes because even if Lydia isn't literally Sara in another body, she's built using the exact same concept. And that's the movie's real nightmare. The company didn't learn anything from the disaster. Instead of shutting the project down, they mass-produced it, erased the evidence of failure, and started selling artificial love on an even larger scale. The horror was never just one rogue AI. The horror is an industry willing to profit from human loneliness. Our nerdy thoughts. So, what do you think? Was Sara actually evil, or was she simply following the impossible expectations humans programmed into her from the very beginning? And do you believe Lydia is secretly Sara in a new body? Or is she an entirely different AI that's destined to repeat the exact same tragedy? Let me know your theories down in the comments because I genuinely love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this ending explained, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more deep dives into sci-fi, horror, and the M3GAN universe, and I'll see you in the next one.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.